What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 8 of Pay to Glory. So I apologize for the delay again on some of the videos. For those of you that are wondering why there's been such a discrepancy in terms of like the amount of time between each video, I've been able to get into a regular uploading schedule just because, as I mentioned in I think my last video, I've going through some stuff in terms of like my personal life, in terms of making a bit of a career change. So it's been really busy for me handling that and taking courses and whatnot. So it might be a little bit infrequent, but I am going to keep uploading. I am going to continue to do this because I do want to practice on my editing skills, keep this going in the background. And as you guys know, I love FIFA to death, so I'm going to try to play as much as we can. So as we go into episode 8 here, this is a couple weeks worth of footage actually. So what I had to do was break this into 2 different videos. So this is part 1, which is going to get uploaded today, and then I think I'm going to upload part 2 tomorrow morning, which has the biggest pack opening I think I've ever done. I spent, a couple thousand FIFA points on this, and my pack luck in the end of the second video, when they had jumbo rare player packs, was absolutely crazy. You guys will see, like, I don't know if I've seen anybody else get the run of players that I did. I'm not going to say who I got because I don't want to ruin it, but it's some awesome players. I was sitting there just with my jaw dropping every single pack that went up. So I think I opened 6 in a row, but you guys will see that in tomorrow's video. So look forward to that and look forward to sharing that with you guys. So as we get back into this video still is full with, it's crammed with stuff. Like I had, I think over the course of the 2 videos, I had 3 squad battle challenge reward packs. So this is the first one. Also, I did some SBCs and stuff like that, so you are going to see a lot of SBC stuff in here in terms of the pack openings. I left all the packs in, but I didn't actually include all the SBCs and what went into them. I did the odd one here and there just so you guys could kind of see what players I put in, but I didn't want to do every single SBC because I didn't want this to just be full of SBCs. Like, it would be boring if you're just sitting there watching me build them and put the teams together and who I used in it. And realistically, I'm like, I don't like watching that either. I'd rather just see what you got in the packs, right? So you guys can check out what I got here. The first part of the video, I didn't really pack too much. The packs before this Black Friday promotion were pretty weak, and even with the SBCs, like I've told you guys in the past, with the marquee matchups right now, they're just giving gold premium player packs, and I just think those are weak. They're not really going to give you too much. Like I don't know, like to get like some 79 rated shiny gold players, like now they're just totally flooding the market because this Black Friday just threw crazy amount of cards in there. So like I wouldn't worry too much about doing the SBCs if they're just like a gold player premium, unless you're just trying to do it for free. Be my guest and try to do it, but the cost of the cards that are actually going into it is probably worth more than what you're actually going to get out. So we do have, I believe, 4 or 5 games in this episode. Also, you're going to see later we did our first League SBC. So the League SBC, you're probably going to know what the League SBC is already because I'm going to put it in the title, but massive one for us. I was really happy, one of my favorite players of all time. So you guys will see that later in the video, me completing that. But this first game we came up against, this guy had a 4-2-3-1. And excuse me, he was using, I think it's Aaron Moy. I've seen that card a lot in the early stages. It's starting to fade out a little bit, but because considering he was one of the first like Premier League cards to actually come in form, I was really surprised at the amount of people that use him. Like the card was decent, but you know, I guess you can get them for cheap, so I guess I can see why people would use it, but I just didn't really see too much reason to want to use Aaron Moy. Like, I don't have any interest in him at all, but, you know, I guess some people will just want to have an inform in their team. But other than that, like, the guy's team was decent. We got a little lucky there at the start getting a finish from Lacazette that hit the keeper's foot and rolled in. Those would be the type of goals that would really annoy me, so unfortunate to that guy, but with that being said, he did let Lacazette run right through the middle of his team. And then Gabriel Jesus makes it 2-0 here. Low driven's still super overpowered this year. I'm okay with it because I've gotten a lot better with it. Last year, I remember at the start of the game last year, I didn't use low drivens at all. and then I would watch a lot of YouTubers, and that was all they used. And I still think that this year they're just super overpowered. They're supposed to be addressed in terms of like how useful they were, but it doesn't look like the animations really stop. It still looks like there's a lot of times where if you just hit a regular shot, it would just raise and the keeper would parry it. But now if you just load driven from like crazy angles, you can get shots away. This is another goal that I just find very frustrating. Like, unfortunately for him, he had to deal with it. But shots through guys' legs, like, there's just, I know that they happen in real life, but it's frustrating in a video game because, like, you're defending well and the guy can just shoot, like, mindlessly through you, and your player just, like, grabs his groin and, like, covers his crotch and, like, turns his head and shoots through his legs. Like, it's so frustrating because you can't really do much else. Like, that guy couldn't really defended that any better. I just kind of got lucky with the shot there, so he wasn't generating too much offensively. I got lucky with some of these shots. Like, they weren't the best. I wasn't super proud of them, but I think at this point it was basically his team was just so deflated. He wasn't really getting away with much. Alexander Lacazette, though. I have to say, Lacazette has been the best card I've used this FIFA easily. He's a guy, he cost me about 100 and whatever it was, 160k, somewhere in that range. He's down to about 115, 120 during the Black Friday promotion. He might creep up a little bit more. And he was actually somebody that at one point I was thinking about selling because I was just like, should I sell this card and just hold on to the coins, because right now, as you guys will see at the end of tomorrow's video, we do have quite a surplus of coins, but I just don't want to spend, there's nothing that I really want to spend them on. I was looking at players like Aguero, De Bruyne, and Pogba. Those three are kind of in the 400 or 500k range that I'd really like to get, but I'm thinking, like, I don't know if I really want to spend that much coin. Like, even De Bruyne, who's like 240, that's way too much for him. Like, by Christmas time, like just after Christmas, once you start seeing an influx of players and more pack promotions that come out, those prices are going to come way down. Like Pogba right now, when he's out of packs because the inform version's in, he's still going for 560. So I don't want to pay like basically his max price right now and then have him drop down to 300k. So that's always been one of my issues with like base cards, is that the base cards always drop crazy. So they're not an investment, you know. Informs and stuff hold their price for the most part until at least another inform version comes out. But I just didn't want to put my money into like base cards, because base cards are just going to go down and down and down and down and down. When SBCs come out, or when League SBCs come out, they might peak a little bit or they might pop up a little bit, but for the most part the grading curve on them, or the price curve, just drops over the course of FIFA. So I just didn't want to spend a lot of money on these cards right now. My team's good enough that I'm capable of going into a match and kind of holding my own at very least. And even though Lacazette's one of those guys that will drop and drop and drop, he's holding okay. But I was thinking also, like, maybe I could just get his ones to watch, but the ones to watch cards also make me nervous, because the ones to watch cards, they're not really guaranteed, especially with the way Arsenal's been playing. Like, I know Lacazette's fantastic, and I think they would be crazy not to give him at least one inform throughout the course of the year, but him going to Arsenal, with all due respect to you Arsenal fans, they I don't know, they just haven't looked very impressive this year, so it wouldn't shock me to see him not get an inform at least anytime soon. So that's not an investment that I necessarily wanted to make. But the flip side of that is that if you did want to invest in the ones to watch Lacazette, he's only 400 grand on PS4. 400k. You know, the what is it, the Path to Glory or whatever one of Gabriel Jesus is like 800k, to give you guys some perspective in terms of the pricing. But like 400k for like Lacazette, like who would have ever thought he'd drop to be that much? So I don't know if people know something that I don't know, or if it's just because he hasn't gotten an inform, but I know if he gets an inform, it's going to shoot up to like 6 something. So I might consider investing in that, but at the same time, I also am very unsure about it. So I'm kind of on the fence. So I wouldn't mind your guys' feedback on it. Like, what do you guys think? Lacazette, yay or nay? I'm really interested in it. So we go and open up a couple more packs here. Again, you guys see, you know, with these boards, I'm not even really excited getting boards anymore, because very rarely do you actually get a walkout unless you're getting like a jumbo or an ultimate pack, like a jumbo rare players or an ultimate pack. Even this one, gold rare pack, this was about as good as you could possibly get from a gold rare pack. João Mario, Arda Turan, they'll go for a little bit, especially right now during Black Friday when these SBCs are out. And some of these, like the more legends that come out, the more legend SBCs that there are to do, and you have to do like 83, 84, 85 rated teams a lot of the time. So they're fairly useful cards, I guess. They'll go for a couple K. I think João Mario sells for about $3,000 right now, 3 something, and every other 83 rated card goes for about $3,000. So they're definitely decent cards to like pull, but they're not great in terms of a board down. Like I'm like 83. Like you're not really gonna get too much. Like you guys can see here, board comes out, you expect the world, and then you get 84 rated Berkey. You know, is that somebody that you really think is massive? Probably not worth the actual animation of getting a board right there. So it's a little bit shitty when you pull one of those guys, pardon my language, but you know, what are you going to do? So a lot of these packs also, I'm just basically putting everything in my club. In terms of the SVCs, when the major leagues come out, the biggest teams in those leagues, like the Eredivisie, like I just did like Ajax, PSV, Feyenoord, and then the rest of them I'm just selling because they'll go for something. Like all the silvers, all the non-rare golds, like those guys go for quite a bit. So just make sure that you don't throw them away, because you'd be surprised at how many go for like 900, 1,000 coins when you could discard the thing for only 300. So you guys also see here that I picked up Path to Glory Renato Sanchez. I sold his regular card. Thing with Renato Sanchez is he probably won't get an upgrade. So he was only going for, I think, 28K there. So I wasn't too fussed about spending that. I just wanted to have a special card, to be honest with you, in the squad. But that card is probably one that won't get upgraded. I'm hoping, like, fingers crossed, that he just gets one. He had a Ones to Watch card last year, didn't get upgraded. It was very annoying. But with the Path to Glory, I just, you know, worst case scenario, you end up selling him later, or you have to use him in an SBC, and, you know, you spend whatever, 28K, and maybe you get something out of it. But with that being said, I'm okay spending the 28 grand. He's a decent card. I tried using him as a center defensive mid. Didn't really work very well there. I didn't like him in terms of being that bottom part of the diamond, just because his defensive stats weren't really good enough. Even with an anchor card or with a shadow card on him, he still wasn't strong enough defensively. Like, he's got good power. He's got good box-to-box work rates and stuff like that. Decent passer. He's okay, but in terms of being an actual player to use in your team, you really want to use him in a center mid position. He's not a good enough passer, a good enough dribbler to be a cam, and he's not good enough defensively. So I ended up bringing him down to a CDM role and then moving him back up to a center mid role, which he's been a lot better using him in that position. So this is the second, excuse me, sorry, I got a tickle in my throat, but this is the second squad battle rewards that we get. The first 2 weeks, I think I finished Silver 1. So I think I mentioned in the last video, you guys probably saw, I wasn't sure if you hold your positions once you hit a certain rank. It turns out that you don't. So I learned that the hard way with the Silver 2, it might even have been, or Silver 1. But I got up to like Gold 3, and then as the course of the week goes by, you actually drop. So I didn't necessarily like that. I'd rather they just set the scale right at the start, and then you figure out what rank you are. So once you get it, you can just hold it. But unfortunately, it's a sliding scale. So if you get to Gold 3 within the first day, the more matchups that unlock every 8 hours, the more that scale moves up, and your actual amount of points just stays the same. So I was at Gold 3, and then I ended up finishing Silver 2 or something like that, which is a really weak reward. I think you get a gold premium players pack, or sorry, a gold premium pack, and then a gold pack, and then like 4750 in terms of coins, or something that's really not useful. On average, I've been finishing like Gold 3. I get up to like Gold 2, Gold 1, but then I kind of stop playing towards the tail end of the week, and I end up finishing like Gold 3. So I think the third rewards, you guys will see, I finished Gold 3, where you get like 2 jumbos and like 12,000 coins or something, which is enough for me. That's all I really care about. Like, I don't expect to finish. I appreciate you guys that want to play on Ultimate and get like those jumbo premium gold packs, but it's a lot of work, it's a lot of games, and I just don't have the time, or more importantly, the patience to do it. So I have mad respect for you guys that go out and do the squad battles, but I get very frustrated now playing the computer. I'm almost kind of losing interest in playing squad battles already. I like the fact that it's, you know, deemed like free coins, I guess you could say, because you're not having to work as hard. You can even, like I do, play on a lower level, but it's just I don't know. Playing the computer can be very frustrating. They get away with stupid tackles. You know, you go out and you stomp a team 8-0, and then I play a team that's got no links and no chemistry, and I beat them 2-0. It's like very odd. It's very inconsistent. And it's just not very, it's not fun. It's not really rewarding. You don't play FIFA to play against the computer realistically. You know, you play to play against other people online. So that's when I like doing. And only now am I actually starting to get to do it because my team's finally good enough that I can actually take in and feel confident that I can compete. Because there's some real beast teams that you'll come across. Now that I'm getting up into Division 7, Division 6, and I'm slowly kind of working my way up the divisions, you're starting to come across much better teams. And now that the game's been out for, what, 2 months, I guess? When did it come out? At the end of August? No, so we got 3 months, I guess. So 3 months in. Wow, 3 months into the game. So the end of November here, as we go into the 3rd month, you know, or the 4th month we're going into, you're getting some pretty good cards out there. A lot of guys have these teams that have like legends or icons in them, excuse me, and they've got like Player of the Month cards in there. And I'm thinking, where are they getting their coins from? I don't know if it's from playing or if it's from putting money in the game, but there's some real beast teams that are coming up. So you got to have a team that's at least meta in order to compete, right? So my team's at that point now, especially after tomorrow's pack opening that you guys will see. I finally got enough coins that I can actually start putting together some real beast teams. So I'm hoping they release like a good Player of the Month card that I can actually like go after. From what I've seen, it looks like the November one probably will be Mohamed Salah. I don't use wingers, so it's not really that useful to me. So even if he was a striker or center forward, I still don't know if I'd even use him. I just want like a really good player, like an Aguero or a De Bruyne or a Pogba or something to be the Player of the Month. Like Harry Kane, I'm not going to use. He's not fast enough. And Sadio Mane and Leroy Sané, like they're just wingers. I don't want to use them. Like they're just pace whores, and I get that they're fast, and that's great, but you know, they're not my type of guys. Like I like using highly skilled guys, really good dribblers, really good passers, really good shooters. So the skill positions, and I use a lot of central guys, right? So having these wingers keep coming out, it's good in the sense that I'm not wasting coins every month, but it's bad in the sense that I don't get to actually like use any of these guys. So it's a little bit frustrating. So I just hope, fingers crossed, that they just come out with somebody else. That I can actually use a central guy or a striker or even a center back. I'd be fine with a center back or a wing back. Somebody that I can put in my team that's not going to cost a crazy amount of coins. So as we open up a few more of these packs, nothing crazy there. I'm just putting together a lot of these silver cards and just hoarding them in my club. This was the last of the Super Liga. So as I mentioned, we did a League SBC. We did the Ricardo Quaresma Super Liga, so the Turkish league. This team, actually, the one that I left till last, was the most expensive. I think it cost me like 12 or 14K or something like that. I don't think I had any of the players. They're all silver. They were all a nightmare to get. They're all expensive. Not expensive, crazy, but like you're talking like 1,000 to 2,000 coins per card. So very annoying to pick up those players in that team. Karabukspor, I think, was the name of it. But that card that I got, that Quaresma, that was absolutely totally worth it. So as you guys will see over the course of time, like I'm using him in my team as a super sub, and every game that I've used him in, he's been fantastic. He's got great dribbling. He just feels really responsive and really quick. Excuse me. You can bring him on as a super sub. He can pretty much play anywhere. You could use him as a striker. His finishing's okay. It's not great. I would suggest using him as a midfielder. I've been using him as a cam or as a wide midfielder if you use wing players, but just a great card. Like good passer, good shooter. His dribbling is just so tight. Like it's just phenomenal to use in game. You really notice guys with tight dribbling, which is one of the things that I've really been looking forward to in FIFA for a long time. I don't think there's been a real gap between good dribblers and bad dribblers in the past. Like guys have kind of been okay, but like you really feel a difference. It's the first year that I can actually feel like I can use David Silva in my team, which I have as the cam, because he feels like he can actually like dribble in tight quarters. So I've been really happy with that. Having a player like that I can just use in my team that's high rated and he's not useless. So like your Iniestas, your David Silva's, who else would fit in there? Even, I don't want to use Isco because Isco's really been useful, but there's a lot of guys that are kind of fit that smaller kind of stature. Even Mesut Ozil, like Mesut Ozil, I've just finally started using him, which you guys will see in later videos. I've only recently put him in my team because in the past he's just been a terrible guy. He's been so weak, you can't really use him. And now you can actually feel like you can put any guy in your team, and if they're high rated, they play like a high rated guy. So this was our second game we came up against, our second block of games. I think I play 3 or 4 games in a row here, so you guys are going to see some gameplay finally here after watching about 8 zillion packs, which I apologize for. I didn't really pack too much. We come up against this guy. He had a full Liga Santander team, so a full La Liga team. No real superstars in it. He had Marco Asensio, I think, was in there. Koke was in there, but Vela, and you can just tell the guy's team was just, he was just doing it for free. So nice driven ball through there, like it was almost like a threaded through pass or something like that, but it caught my defense flat-footed. I was annoyed when it happened because I was thinking, like, where the hell did my defense go? But it was actually a really nice ball, so I was give full credit to that. It was annoying to get scored against, especially because I thought my keeper would have had this. Ederson should have had that, but nice finish from him. But more importantly, that through ball was really well taken, so it was a great pass there. So 1-1 as we head in there. Carrasco, another card, 85 rated, very, very good. So he comes in here, almost foul him once, foul him a second time there. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know why. Like the slide tackles, 99% of the time they usually work. He'll get the ball, but it was just one of those annoying ones where I don't know if there was just a little bit of a delay, but you can tell he just misses the ball completely and just takes the guy out. So I guess that's my fault. I mean, I don't know if I just didn't time it properly or if there's a like a delay in terms of when I hit it and when he actually took the side tackle, but it wasn't the end of the world. I mean, when it comes to penalties, I feel pretty confident for some reason. Some guys you just know that you're just going to stop them, and this guy was just one of those. I was just like, okay, well, I'm not too worried about it. So I end up going out and stopping him with Ederson, and then we actually end up getting a chance of our own right off the break as his players all get caught up field. Unfortunately, we can't do much with it because I bottled it, ran right in. I don't know what I was doing. I was expecting to just go in there and smash a low-driven shot. Blew my load and ended up running right into the keepers. So shame on me for that. So we go into the break 1-1. This guy definitely a very capable player, especially with the team he was using. You know, the team was decently balanced, but they weren't full of superstars. They were full of good players, low 80 rated players, but nothing crazy. Like there wasn't like a Ronaldo or a Messi or anybody in there. But this is a perfect example of, you know, if you have a team that's good enough, you can compete if you know how to use them. So I don't know what I was doing on this opportunity here. I thought I bottled it when I was through. I didn't expect his defender to come running out, but Gabriel Jesus runs past the defender and then lays it off. Look at this right here. Runs past the defender because I think there was a delay when I hit through ball the first time there, and for some reason his defender run past it, so the delay caused the ball to get passed after. But thankfully Lacazette is such a beast that he ends up finishing that. You guys are going to see him in all these online games, like Lacazette just ends up being the more important guy. He just finishes everything. I put a Hunter card on him. I think his finishing somewhere in the high 90s now, and his pace and his acceleration are all like 97. They're both like 97. So his card is like having a team of the season in my card, or in my squad there, with having him with a Hunter on it. So the guy does tie it up 2-2. Trampy goal, sweaty, but to be honest with you, I would have taken the same thing if I would have had the chance. So no harm done there. And then the boy Ricardo Quaresma, we brought him on as a sub. There you go, right through. Play him at cam. And finally they fixed his player face. I hate the fact that he's got the shaved head. I wish, this is just me being a little, you know, nitpicky here, but I was hoping that they would actually like put the little white hair that he had for a little while there. The shaved head I hate, but you know, they got the player face in there. They got all his tattoos, so it's pretty sick that they actually make it look like him. So when you see him on the field, he's pretty noticeable because he's got all the tattoos all over him. Lacazette there finishes that through ball. This guy was starting to press offensively, was getting a little bit more desperate, and he just opened up in the back. So when I scored that third goal with Quaresma, he, like I said, he went offensive, but it was more just his panic defending. You could just feel his team starting to erode because he was just getting more aggressive. He was just getting more panicky. You'll see him diving in, just like pulling guys out of position left and right. And when guys start doing that, that's when I'm at my absolute best. Not to sound cocky here, but that's when I play my best FIFA, is when guys just start panicking. When I have a hard time is when guys just sit in defensive shells or they just sit in front of you like the computer does, and they just stand there. So like as soon as you get the ball, there's just a guy always in front of you. That's when it's really annoying to like get through. So when guys start pulling guys out of position, that's when I'm at my absolute finest, and that's when I'll start scoring goals. So it's a little bit more desperate defending from him, and it ends up being 5-2. So the score line a little bit generous to me, I think. It was a much tighter game. It took until the end of the second half for the most part, right up until what it was, the 75th minute or something, when Quaresma got the third goal there, and then I ended up potting 2 later. So the scoreline was a little bit deceiving, but I'll take it. Win's a win. I'm happy with that. You know, first goal there from Lacazette, his finishing, just, I can't praise him enough. You know, a real sound, real butt sucky here with Lacazette, but he's just so good. So I recommend him. He's worth every coin to me. So if you're looking for a striker, you got 120k that you can burn, go out and get Alexander Lacazette, because he is worth every single penny. So this third game that we come up against, the guy is using the Peru kit. I don't know if he's Peruvian. And here's his team. There you go. Another 4-3-3. You guys are using 4-3-3 a lot. I know they like to spread the field a lot. It just leaves the middle really spread out. I didn't look at this guy's team and think I was too worried about it. He had a lot of basic chemistry styles on it. And like I said, with 4-3-3, the field's pretty spread. He didn't have many superstars in it. He had some good players, but no one really crazy. No one that really concerned me. But I don't know what it was, this guy's team. I just couldn't break it down, so I don't want to ruin it, but this game does finish 0-0. I just left some highlights in there to kind of show, I don't know, I guess some gameplay, I guess. But for the most part, this was basically the most boring game I've ever played. And I don't mean that as an insult necessarily to the guy, but I'm sorry to say this, but he was the most boring player I've ever played. He sat back. I don't know if he played defensive, but his team was very defensive. I got unlucky with some opportunities, got called offside there on the Renato Sanchez goal. That through ball there, Lacazette took a stupid touch. It's like the player didn't register that the ball was coming to him, and it just bounced off the player model. So certain things like that were happening in this game, but his team just felt like they had a million defenders all the time. I had to really, like, that opportunity right there was a perfect example of me having to try to create something. Another opportunity there where I was trying to just a real simple pass to Lacazette. Instead, it goes to the far guy, which I wasn't expecting. So my shot was registering near post, and it ended up taking, because he was the far guy, he ended up shooting what near post would have been towards the goalie. So it was just annoying stuff like that was going on, but he just had so many men behind the ball all the time. I don't know, it was a real boring game of FIFA. Again, not an insult to the guy personally, but really boring guy to play against. It was a really awful game to watch, and you know, 0-0, you don't get those too many, especially in this year's FIFA, where it's just been goal fest after goal fest after goal fest. But in this guy's setup, it was just a defensive stalwart. I just couldn't break him down. So we head into our fourth game here. This guy's got one of those, I think it was one of those kits or whatever you call them. They were like the unlockable ones, which I've been a big fan of EA releasing this year when they throw the unlockable kits into the catalog. And we come up against this guy who's got a full Bundesliga team, 4-3-1-2. Had Ribery in the midfield, not really sure why. I guess he just really liked Ribery and wanted to use him in there. Not a fan of using that personally. I like wing players, but I don't like having them in those positions off cam right off the start. Again, just another weird thing of mine, which is kind of ironic considering I bring them on as a sub. So he'd probably actually get more, like if I use Quaresma in that position, he'd get more chemistry than bringing him on as a sub, because I think the subs use they get like 6.1 chem or whatever it is, 6.3 chem or something like that. So I'm not actually using Quaresma at his finest, but for some reason psychologically, I'm just more okay with using him as a sub than I am with using him as a starter off chem in a weird position. So it makes sense of that if you want, but to me it's just been a psychological thing. I just like, there's something about having guys playing on full cam right off the start of the match that has always been something that I've needed to do. So we come up against this guy and we just basically onslaughted him right from the start. We started the game off with a nice finish from Gabriel Jesus, finessing it to the top corner, and then Lacazette, again my boy, with the volley into the far post. This was just one of those games where you know, the guy didn't do anything wrong off the start, but I just got, I guess you could say, lucky. You know, I came downfield and it just broke open, and Gabriel Jesus finished. And then the second one was another opportunity from Lacazette where he volleyed, and then that, you know, that was just, those are the types of things that would frustrate me if I was the defender, because like his defenders just stood around. The shot came in, Lacazette, his keeper, made a nice stop, but Lacazette's the only guy who identified where the ball was going. You could watch his defender, he just stands there. I guess you couldn't see it there, but you know, the keeper's not going to get up in time. The defender didn't even register. He just stood around waiting, and Lacazette's the only guy that moved for it. So this guy, you could tell he was just getting frustrated at this point, but, you know, things would just open up, and, you know, again, it just looked like the computer just wasn't playing the way he wanted it to, like they were just opening up like the Red Sea. Everybody has those games, but what are you going to do? I'm not going to complain. I'm up 4-0, and maybe I'm discrediting myself because I was creating the opportunities. There's a lot of ones that I didn't put into the actual video, so it was just an onslaught. Like, this was just one of those games. It was just forward, 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 and then I brought Raheem Sterling on as a sub in the second half, and another card that I highly recommend. I would be over the moon if they released a Raheem Sterling in a central position. I would actually probably get him if he was like an inform that was like a striker or a center forward. Because Raheem Sterling is so good in this game. He was awesome last year when he hit his Player of the Month card, but even his base card this year, he's just so rapid and he's so good technically. Like, he's been playing really good in real life. You know, it's City this year because City's just been bossing everybody. So I hope that they actually release a central version of him. Fingers crossed, because he would just be fantastic. Anyway, the guy stopped playing after 4 goals. I only ended up scoring 2 more with him not on the field. Sweaty, I know. Cheesy, I know. But I didn't really care. I was like, whatever. The guy wants to stop playing. I'm just going to run up the score. Because thankfully this year, if the guy stops playing, it does actually boot him from the game, which happens here. So he stopped playing and got the boot. We got the 6-0 win. And I will take that. So it's 6-0, Lacazette with 3, Gabriel Jesus with 2, and the boy Raheem Sterling with 1. So Raheem Sterling has been one of my super subs. Quaresma's SBC has been one of my super subs. And the third super sub that I had was Mauro Icardi, who was one of my favorite players in real life. But that has recently changed because I did pack somebody that I'm going to have in future episodes that I'm going to bring on as the third super sub. So this is the final game of the video. So the 5th game is coming up against, I guess you would call it a meta team, like an EPL team. Like, pretty much every 2 of 3 games that you play is going to be BPL teams. I don't want to get off on too much of a tirade here, but I've been very frustrated with the fact that as much as a blessing it is to have BPL teams, you know, BPL cards come out that are like special cards, because it helps me build my team because I use a BPL team. It's frustrating because you're not coming up against variety. Ultimate Team doesn't. It has the chemistry. It has that chemistry system in place because it originally didn't want people having Ronaldo's and Messi's and everybody having the same team. But now, with where Ultimate Team is and the amount of players that are in the game, the amount of guys that are playing it, Messi's and Ronaldo's are so rare to come up against anyway that I don't think it's a concern to actually like have these guys be the reason that this archaic chemistry style or chemistry system is still in the game. Like, I would love to be able to use my actual Ultimate Team, and I just hope that they have like either progressive chemistry or some new form of chemistry in the future, just because it's getting boring. Like, it's just coming up against BPL teams over and over and over again. It's just so awful. Like, it's just not very fun. So you don't see any variety. Like, you're never going to see like Eredivisie teams and you know, England League 3 teams, but there might be a player in it that you want to use from those leagues. So like, I just hope that they change it so you can actually use some of these guys. Anyway, so that was my rant for the day. But the third game here, we come up against this guy. This guy was, again, another very decent defender. It was just one of those tight games, and I don't know, maybe I'm just like, again, discrediting myself, but I've been playing really good FIFA this year. Like, so far, it's just this FIFA I didn't like at first, but I guess it works with my playing style. I play a really short tiki-taka style. Everything's possession. I just hold the ball. I'm not afraid to make those 2-foot passes. and just hold possession. I just like to draw guys out of position. My system that you guys know, the bait and rush, which is basically like baiting guys out with the midfield, so get them running around, get them frustrated. People don't like not having the ball, so guys just run around, and when they don't have the ball, they just start pulling guys out of position. So as soon as I start doing that and I see the defenders start coming in, I just rush the back line. So the bait and rush system works really well in this FIFA, so I recommend it if you can master it. It's a really useful way of competing against guys, because this year you're actually rewarded for having players that go out there and can make passes and can hold the ball, because I guess with just momentum or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, it's just very effective. But that is going to be the end of this video. That's going to be part 1. Part 2 is going to come out tomorrow, so you're going to see it's going to be pretty much all pack opening, but the pack opening is absolutely monstrous. So I appreciate you guys sticking through to the end of the video. If you could leave a like on the video, leave any comments you have down below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Until tomorrow, guys, take care. Peace.